Okay, Bismillah, Assalamualaikum, greetings. So this is the research methodology for MET10502, Chapter 3, Introduction to Research. So, okay, so this will be the content of this research, starting with research background, problem statement, research aims or objective, research hypothesis, research scopes, and finally the ethical consideration. So for this asynchronous lecture, okay, you need to provide the proof of attendance. So the proof of attendance are quite simple. Okay, you just need to complete all of the lecture activities that will be given throughout this lecture. So throughout this lecture, there will be a number of lecture activities. Okay, don't worry, that just a simple one that you need to complete, and then you can email it to me. So this is my email address. So due dates are by Friday. So you actually have like 1 week to complete. And for this lecture, there will be also one assignment that consists of like 7.5% of the overall carry marks. Okay, so we start straight away with what is research background. Okay, the word research has multiple meanings and its precise definition varies from discipline to discipline and expert to expert. So meaning that in some area, the word research maybe means a different thing. For example, if in the industry, okay, they have their own R&D, research and development, meaning that the research that has that being done in the industry must they need to develop something. They need to maybe they need to produce a number or some or maybe make some improvement to the existing product. Okay, but in the academic session in the university, for example, it is not necessary to produce a product, but what is more important is that the findings of the research, okay, the finding of the research that can contribute to the body of knowledge. So that a different example for example, a director, a movie director, okay, maybe an Avengers movie director. Okay, whenever Avengers or my background, Batman movie director. So if the director want to direct a movie based on any comics like Batman, Avengers, Iron Man or something, the director need to make research. So he need to read the comics. Okay, the way of his doing his research is by reading the comics. So different research mean different meanings in different background. However, there seems to be an agreement with respect to the function it performs, research or approaches to achieve objective. So whatever it is, okay, the main purpose of any research is that we need to achieve our objective. Okay, these methods range from the failed informant based upon clinical, strictly scientific, and etc. So this is a type of research, okay, from the viewpoint of application, objective, and inquiry mode. So basically, okay, or normally for science or engineering, okay, we will focus on this one, okay, which is sometimes can be pure research or applied research. For social science, they usually, okay, they have this quantitative research or qualitative research or sometimes mixed method. So pure research is concerned with the development, examination, verification, and refinement of research methods, procedures, techniques, and tools that form the body of research methodology. The knowledge produced through pure research is sought in order to add to the existing body of knowledge, the one that I just mentioned before. Applied research is one where research technique, procedure, and methods that form the body of research methodology are applied. Okay, so there are research that are pure research, meaning, for example, your research is basically to find the effects of temperature towards the solar cell or solar panel. We have a solar panel that can convert sunlight to electricity. Okay, but even it can convert sunlight to electricity, it also can the temperature, okay, because it is it receives sunlight every day. So the solar panel can be very, very hot. So if your research is to discover, okay, the effect of temperature towards the solar panel in order to determine the performance of the solar panel, and that is something like more to pure research. But if your research is about applying something, okay, meaning that you want to predict the effect of temperature towards the solar panel by using ANN, for example, by using artificial intelligence, for example. So that is the example for applied research. Okay, so this is a lecture activity A. Okay, if this class is done normally, okay, or the all normal before the pandemic era, so usually I will give 10 minutes to every student to complete lecture activity A. So with the help of a mind map, please construct the research definition in your field. So, okay, for example, whatever you are doing for your, you are taking master by course, then you need to do a master project, okay, project Sarjana, PS, PS1 and PS2. So whatever you want to do for your project, okay, you can use it here for lecture activity A. Okay, please construct the research definition in your field. So whatever you're doing, what is the research definition? Are you going to using, for example, pure research, applied research, and etc. So, okay, 10 minutes from now. Okay, so 3.2, problem statement. Okay, so problem statement, in this one, if you see the proposal, whether it is proposal or whether it is the final thesis, on the chapter 1, we have the background, and secondly, we will see the problem statement. So problem statement is basically what is this research is trying to solve. Okay, what is this research is trying to solve? If this research is not solving anything, then this research is, is better to not to do this research. Okay, kalau dia tak selesaikan apa masalah, so baik tak buat. Senang katalah. Okay, it can be considered as the backbone of the research, because whatever result you obtain, whatever method you use, but if it does not solve the problem, okay, or maybe the result that you obtain is not solving anything in your problem statement, and then that will be very, very dangerous. Okay, so that is why it is the backbone of the research. Anything you do in your research, it must solve the problem statement. So number 3 can be formulated through literature review. Okay, maybe you read the literature review not one by one, meaning you focus on the area. For example, you want to do a monitoring system of the PV panel. Yes, I use a lot of PV for my example, because solar electricity is my background. Okay, so for PV panel, okay, meaning that you want to monitor the output of the solar panel by using IoT, for example, because this is master by course for IoT. Okay, so you need to read a related literature review by using that do the same the similar research area that they do monitor. First, they do monitor the output of the PV panel by using whatever method, and then the literature is on to monitor by using IoT. Okay, so and then by you reading, then you can see, okay, this is the problem. This is why they do monitoring for the PV panel, for example. Okay, research problem determines the type of method that are appropriate for finding their answers. Okay, this should be up here. Please forgive me for that. For example, applying IoT in any of the research. Why? So just I mentioned just now, we want to apply IoT to monitor the output of the PV panel. Okay, this is the example, monitoring solar panel by output by using IoT. Why? Why we need to monitor? So after you read the literature review, we have found out that PV output, okay, the electricity from the PV panel is very dependent on the sun. If there is sun, then there will be electricity. But if there is no sunlight at all, maybe especially during night time or during rainy days, okay, so the output will be fluctuate. Okay, the output will be reduced, or there will be no output at all. Okay, so because of that, we need to monitor the output of the PV panel, maybe by hours, maybe but every 30 minutes. Okay, so it is difficult to like go to the to monitor it manually, because usually PV panel is installed on rooftop. So maybe if you want to monitor, for example, every hour, so every hour we need to go to the rooftop and we need to measure the output. So it is much more convenient if we can develop a system, a monitoring system using IoT, so that we do not have to go to the rooftop every hour. Okay, we just can look at our phones or our PC and then we can get the output. So that is example of why we want to use IoT in monitoring PV panel. Okay, so lecture activity B, okay, with the help of a mind map, please construct the problem statement of your research. So what is your of your research? Okay, you do it in a mind map. For every lecture activities, okay, just do mind map only. Okay, you can use it, you can use Word or PowerPoint, etc. Okay, just do the mind map only. So okay, 3.3 research aims or objective. So objective is what you want to accomplish through the research. Okay, the objectives must be formulated to solve the problem that has been explained in the problem statement. Okay, every objective must be formulated to solve every problem in the problem statement. Okay, please do not make any objective that has nothing to do with the problem statement. Okay, that has been many cases. Okay, there is nothing wrong with their research, but what is wrong is that their objective has nothing to do with their problem statement, meaning that if they do not achieve that objective, or even if they achieve that objective, the problem is not being solved at all. Okay, so okay, for example, to monitor PV output, so objective number one, maybe, okay, this is for example, only to develop a monitoring system using IoT to blah, 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 so that they can do like monitor remotely and etc. Okay, so meaning that the problem is they want to monitor the PV output because PV output is located on the rooftop and everything. So they want to develop a monitoring system. Okay, what it means by the objective that has nothing to do with the problem statement, mean, okay, usually in PV system, we need to use inverter, for example. Okay, inverter, because PV produces DC and our appliances usually use AC. So we need to convert that DC to AC. So we need to use inverter. Okay, so meaning that suddenly, okay, that student, he write for objective number 2 to use to construct a better, high efficiency inverter, for example. Okay, there is nothing wrong if he or if that student wanted to do an inverter, he wanted to design an inverter. There's nothing wrong with that. But what is wrong is that has nothing to do with the problem statement. The problem statement is that he wanted to monitor the PV output. Only that is the problem statement. So if he designed inverter, that has nothing to do with the monitoring PV output. So, but if he still want to do the design of the inverter, then he need to modify his problem statement so that the design inverter can be used to solve the inverter problem. He need to include the inverter problem in his problem statement. Okay, so research objective must be doable. Okay, doable meaning, okay, maybe within the time frame. Okay, make sure the research is not too long. For example, the data collection may be 4-5 years of data collection. Nah, that is not doable. That is very long, especially for my master by course, maybe just 3 semester only. Okay, 2 semester for the project. So there is no like 5 years, 3 years for data collection. For example, or maybe you want to develop the product will take a long time. Maybe you need to send to overseas or something. And doable is, okay, in terms of facilities. Is it in that university we have that facility, we have that machine or something. Okay, and then number 2, it must be measurable. Okay, quantity in units and etc. Okay, for example, if the objective, if we want to increase the efficiency of something, so we have that percentage efficiency value. Okay, for example, we look at the example first. Okay, the first objective is to enhance the student understanding towards IoT. So we need to ask back, is this doable to enhance the students understanding? Okay, if it is doable, is it measurable? Okay, meaning that how to measure the student understanding. The only way to measure student understanding is by doing examination or test. So is that your research? So meaning that there is nothing wrong to enhance the student understanding towards IoT, but if you want to do like this, okay, your result must include like questionnaire. You need to do test toward the student before and after, for example. Okay, but if in like engineering, in IoT, meaning that the first objective, you want to develop the IoT system. So the IoT system must has the ability to show the value of the PV panel. Yes. Okay, so I hope you get what I mean. Okay, so activity C. Okay, with the help of a mind map, please construct the objective of your research. Okay, whatever you are going to do for your master project. Okay, it meaning that it doesn't mean that you will do this for your master project. Bukanlah maksud dah letak aktiviti ni nanti project master kena buat yang ni. Tak, maksudnya yang ni untuk subjek ni lah. Kalau time buat project nanti nak propose project lain pun okey. Kalau you nak guna ni, yang tu terbaik. Maksudnya you like kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay. So please construct the objective of your research in a mind map form. Okay. Okay. Research hypothesis. Okay. What is hypothesis? Is a prediction, a tentative solution or expected answer to the question. It's a tool in the research process, not the ends in themselves. Okay. Research hypothesis derived from theory or literature, also known as scientific hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, or control hypothesis. They are stated in the proposal. Okay, so example, okay, NFIS is better than ANN in terms of blah blah blah. Okay, NFIS is artificial neural network that has been combined with fuzzy logic. So ANN is artificial neural network. So in theory, okay, NFIS must be better than ANN because NFIS is a combination of both artificial neural network, ANN, and fuzzy logic. So ANN is in the NFIS. So because of that theory, okay, we can come up with the hypothesis that NFIS is better than ANN. Okay, this is for example. Okay, let's have activity D right away. So, okay, please construct a mind map that showing your hypothesis of your research. 3.5 research scopes and limitation. Okay, so why we need to state the research scope? Okay, what is the purpose of the scope, research scope? Okay, first, to set boundaries and parameters of the research in terms of maybe time, in terms of maybe location, area, techniques, etc. Okay, for example, uh, I use solar panel, PV panel, for example. So as we all know that PV panel is very dependent on the sunlight. So sunlight is different, depends on the location, depends on the country. So we can put the research scope for our research is that the sunlight or the temperature or the surrounding area is only based on Malaysian weather, for example, or Malaysian condition, meaning that the sunlight hours is based on Malaysia standard sunlight hours. Okay, it is not for, like, for example, the Europe, okay, or other countries. So that is the scope, because meaning that PV panel will give different result depending on its location. So we cannot do all. We cannot do for the entire world. We cannot do for Malaysia. We want to do for other parts of climate change. So we need to determine that, we need to state that the scope for this research is for Malaysian condition only. For example, that is the boundaries. Okay, sometimes we can use like techniques. Okay, for example, or techniques or maybe software, because there are many software. So we are using MATLAB for this simulation, for example. Okay, otherwise, yes, maybe different software give different result or different types of like of usage. Okay, so we can state that. Okay, so okay, activity E. Okay, please construct a mind map of your scope of limitation of your research. So okay, so this is the last part. Okay, the ethical consideration. So okay, when we doing our research, okay, especially for postgraduate, okay, untuk level master PhD lah, okay, untuk okay, sebenarnya penting untuk semua, tapi master PhD lebih utama lagi sebab dia melibatkan banyak pihak, terutama publish paper dan sebagainya. Okay, so ethical consideration. Okay, first is scientific misconduct. Okay, what is scientific misconduct? Fraud and plagiarism. Okay, scientific misconduct occurs when a researcher falsifies or distorts the data or methods of data collection or plagiarizes the work of others. Okay, this, for example, that researcher fail to get a certain result. Okay, dia nak result lain, dapat result lain. And what is the presentation of the result? Okay, result ni kita tunjuk kat mana? Kita tunjuk kat paper je. Meaning that sama ada paper kita dalam bentuk report, thesis, ataupun paper tu dalam bentuk journal, publication, kita just ambil data tu. Contohnya kalau data tu simulation, kita ambil data dari simulation tu, kita paste kat paper. Tapi boleh tak kita nak ubah? Sebab kita hantar, sama ada hantar ke journal ke, hantar thesis atau report tu hantar ke supervisor atau ke panel ke, kita hantar tu je. Okay, melainkan kalau supervisor tu check lah. Maksudnya supervisor tu memang nak tengok, yang tu mungkin cerita lain. Tapi katakan, okay, dia buat research, dia dapat result dan result tu mungkin tak okay, tapi dia bila dia paste kat paper tu sebagai report tu, maksudnya dia ubah. Dan itu sangat-sangat tidak beretika. Okey, sangat-sangat tidak beretika. Dan tak boleh dilakukan. It cannot be done. Okey. It is very, very like unethical. Okay, so what is research fraud? Fake or event data that were not really collected or falsely report how research was conducted. Kurang itulah. Okay, so plagiarism. Okay, this one I think you already know what is plagiarism. Okay, we plagiate other people's work. Okay, so luckily now we have Turnitin. Okay, so not only that. Okay, ethical also regarding the research subject. What are we going to do? What is our research involved? So physical harm. Okay, should not cause physical harm. Anticipate risk before conduct of research. Screen high risk subject. If stress is involved. Okay, blah 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 blah. So for example, if we in UTHM we have the high voltage lab. So high voltage is very dangerous. So anyone that they want to do research in high voltage, for example, need to need to follow the SOP. Okay, now we all are following the SOP. Or maybe for example, for other fields, they are using animals as a subject, so they have their own ethics. Okay, is it okay? Not animals are allowed to they usually use like a lab rat, okay, tikus makmal. Tapi itu pun ada etika dia yang dia kena patuhi. So okay, this one for social science, usually there are a lot of questionnaire. Okay, sometimes we also got email. Okay, so this one, the etiquette is never force anyone to participate. Okay, kalau orang dah tak sudi, kita tak boleh paksa lah kan. It should be voluntary. Okay, subject should be explained so they can make informed decision. Okay, sebelum kita bagi questionnaire ke apa ataupun kat email tu kita tulis lah. Okay, what is this questionnaire is about. Okay, do not lie is meaning that in terms of if we as a subject to answer the questionnaire, please do not lie. Okay, give a better answer. If we do not know how to answer, we need to ask the researcher on how to answer that. Okay, deception may increase mistrust and against public respect. Privacy can be violated to a minimal degree for a legitimate research purpose. Protect the information on research subject from public disclosure. So meaning that if questionnaire, that is why usually for questionnaire, the people answering the questionnaire do not have to put their names. Okay, tak perlu letak nama, just mungkin gender, umur dan sebagainya sebab nak privacy. Okay, untuk privacy. Okay, so this one is the last lecture activity. So with the help of a mind map, please construct the ethical consideration of your research. So research you pasal apa? Contohnya, adakah melibatkan tikus makmal? So apakah dia punya ethical consideration dia, ataupun adakah melibatkan questionnaire ataupun dan sebagainya lah. Okay, dan buat dalam mind map. So itu saja untuk kuliah minggu ni. Okay, that's all. Okay, very short because for lecture activity should be like 10 minutes and so okay. But this one for 2 hours for asynchronous, okay, I just give the instruction and you can do it at your own time and pace and time. Okay, so okay, assignment for chapter 3, assignment C3 is worth 7.5%. There will be 2 assignments. Okay, the total of 2 assignments will be like 15%. So this is the first part of the assignment is 7.5%. So okay, assignment is simple, yeah? Meaning that please complete the introduction part of your research proposal that includes title of research, research background, problem statement, research objective, research hypothesis, and research scope. Okay, maksudnya you kena buat proposal yang chapter 1 kan ada benda-benda ni, so you kena siapkan tu. So kalau benda tu contohnya lah research, katakanlah problem statement adalah sama dengan lecture activity yang dalam bentuk mind map. So okay, you ambil daripada mind map tu, you convert dia dalam bentuk ayat formal, okay, untuk you punya proposal ini. So kedua-duanya, okay, you have like 1 week which is ample time, okay, from Friday to submit. Okay, so with that, I thank you. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and have a nice day.